Okay, we're back here with our Farfisa Compact Deluxe, and so far we got our order in, and these are all of the capacitors that need to be replaced. So far we've replaced these 8, which are basically just the power supply. So we have it on and it's working, and compared to a previous video there, this it's a lot cleaner. We lost a lot of all that garbage and grumble, and you can see back here there's still a couple more on this power supply that we're going to need to replace. That'll clean up the rest of this. Replaced all of the bad caps on the vibrato section. We've got a lot of this stuff working back to life now. We've got our flutes still a little quiet, but it's the highest register. And now we're going to be able to diagnose some of our cards, as you can see. We've got a couple bad cards there. C is going to need some love, and we're still not quite sure about this center section. I think a lot of these contacts just need to be cleaned yet, which is the other thing I have yet to do. I wanted to get the capacitors changed out so we can at least see. That cleaned up a lot of things. Now we can tell which direction we need to go. We also got our vibrato working again. Although, again, we definitely know our C and our G both need to be looked at. I love that cheesy Farfisa sound. Reverb is sort of there. Kick the tank. Yeah. You can hear we have reverb yet, and our multi-boosts are all working. And that leaves us with percussion, and we're still having a small problem here with percussion. But we haven't gotten in to replace any of these capacitors yet. As of right now, see the light comes on there, but I'm pressing keys, and we're not getting anything out of it. So that's going to be another section we take a look at. But progress, progress, progress. Now we just need to tune and fix those couple of cards, and we're on our way. Let's see if this one gets put into our rental stock, or maybe somebody might want to take it home with them. Alright, we're out. Alright, so we've cracked open the heart of the beast and pulled out some of the cards. And as you can see, we've got this little guy set up. This was the last card that I just repaired. This is the G tone card. So as you here on the workbench, see some of our tools and the things that we keep around. That's the pile of parts already just from delving in and just cleaning up. Most of the capacitors you see are in the power supply and preamp board and vibrato board. These transistors and a couple of smaller capacitors, and I'm sure there's a resistor or two in there as well. All were bad on several of these divider boards, tone generator boards, whatever you want to call them. We do some things old school. We don't have all some fancy oscilloscopes and stuff here, but what I do have, I've got some spare parts from some spare boards that were not working completely. We've got some of our new capacitors that just came in. Some more resistors. Just keep some of these guys on file. Here's just a couple more parts and pieces that I just keep around. Some more capacitors, some more resistors, and there's another transistor. That's a new one though. That's not one of the germanium. Let's see these guys. These are the germanium. There are some guys that will argue about only using the germanium transistors on these boards, and that the germanium transistor itself is what gives the Farfisa its growl, bite, or voice. There are several. This is all from the factory. Boards all came with. Some of these are mismatched on the board as well. You can see one of the boards that were just repaired. Like I was getting back to, one of the things I don't have is a fancy tone testing oscilloscope reading type device, but what I do have is an old fun little practice amp. This little Marshall MB30 is a perfect little solid state amp. So that's one of the other cards that we just were working on. So the C, now I've repaired, let's see, a couple, I can tell you a couple of these transistors. There was a resistor somewhere on the fundamental part of the card. I think this was the one. I think there were this pair of transistors as well had to be replaced, and one of these caps needed to be replaced as well, at least on, and this is just the G card. There are 12 cards. I'm going through most of them so far. Now, so, my point, quick, simple little way. Don't try this at home unless you are a highly trained professional. I have a little makeshift tone generator worked up here using some leads. And then a variable power supply. That's a pretty old, I don't even know if they make ones like this anymore, but variable power supply. Everything is running through a power conditioner as well. This keeps some grounding issues and gives you a nice clean tone. You don't have to worry about any other background, because you're trying to avoid all of the background noises and things. You want to see exactly if the cards are working properly. So we also have our makeshift little lead tester here that's gone to a 1/4 inch that comes in to the amp. We've got one black lead going to our power on this board. First lead is for your vibrato circuit, if I'm reading my diagram correctly. Off the top, I don't have the diagram in front of me, but this is your power. This is your ground. Then you have your fundamental, your first octave, second octave, and they divide down and so on and so forth. Now the other thing, these boards are all point-to-point soldered from the 60s. When you're going to test these, lay it down on some cardboard or something non-conductive, because there are all your solder joints and leads. Now we can check this by flipping it over on its back and going lead to lead, or we can also test point to point on certain points of the board here. Do a full general test to make sure. Is always start high with your fundamental, because that takes the main note and then it divides it down to get the rest of your octaves. So we very carefully, I mean, we're only running 8 volts of power here, but still very carefully test the fundamental. We touch, and there's our tone. We move down the line. And that is how we test a board. Alright, we put two of the repaired cards back in. I have the C card in here temporarily because it's still giving me some problems, but I'm gonna see we made some progress here. There's still an issue with the C. I had this volume down kind of low. Let me turn it up a little bit. You can hear it about better. And we're just getting a wrong note with that C. The fundamental's still a little messy. It's caused everything to kind of shift, but so the rest of our notes are back and working. I'm a horrific keyboard player. We add in the 8-foot. Some contacts that we need to finish cleaning a little bit more. Another one in there. And I think we have a contact issue with this B. I'm gonna say that's a contactor issue. And let's see, vibrato. We're having some issue with that D there as well. But vibrato is back and working. Reverb is still yet to be tackled, but we did. Here we are. We've got percussion back. Or at least something of it. So we're making more progress. Also had to replace both of the tubes, and I had to add, I tried to repair the original 1/4-inch output cable. It was just too far gone and degraded, so there's a brand new 1/4-inch cable on here as well. There's a little bit of Riz left in this thing, but there's still a couple more capacitors in the power supply that I haven't changed out yet, but we do have them here in our mix of spare parts and discarded parts. This is our pile of bad parts, and then some donor boards for spare parts, and then brand new parts yet to come. So stick around. We'll have this baby humming and singing like new in no time.